control. Breach in 5, 4, 3.
What's up, guys? I'm Uncle Freedom, coming to you on that glorious and well-deserved day off yet again. And today we're going to look at the second part of that stockpiling ammo in the factory versus hand loads. And today it's all about them hand loads. Is it worth it for you to do? What is the benefits to it? What are the pros and cons of being a stockpiler that uses predominantly handmade ammo, so hand-loaded ammo? As always, we're going to talk about some initial stuff in the beginning of this. What does it mean to stockpile ammo? That means that I have ammo in excess stored away for a rainy day or when the government decides I'm not allowed to buy it anymore. That also means that I get to shoot more. I have plenty of ammunition for training, and I have lots and lots of ultra high-end ammo that you can't even buy on the shelf, like this 55 grain MPG round from Barnes. Why should you be stocking ammo? Again, I'll say it again because it's in the back. Guys, you need to listen. Ammo is a very, very, very common victim of the whims of politicians. The president can say something off color today and ammo will cease to exist tomorrow. And it's not they did it. It's we all went and bought at the exact same time. If you're looking for ammo, if you are buying a bunch of that factory training ammunition, check out my boys at barely.com. They are an affiliate link down below. They're awesome. That's who I buy all my training ammunition from. They have the best prices and they are free shipping as well. Lots of other companies down there, Primary Arms, Palmetto State Armory, even a night vision company that's coming on board. We're just working it out right now. Lots of cool stuff on board. So where have I been? I just spent the last part of the week out on the range at the Nebraska Law Enforcement Training Center, where I was working with basic students this year, teaching them how the fine art of running a handgun like a scalded dog. Like, we go out and we teach and we love doing it. Ended up treating heat cats. So gentlemen, it's that time of year. Drink freaking water. You're not invincible. Okay. Electrolytes are your friend. Don't let your potassium levels drop. Then that's the last dad advice I'm going to give you today. Hand loads, pros and cons for stockpiling your hand-loaded ammunition. So let's get into this. Your pros, we're going to do these first. You have 10 pros for you today. Number one, it is a tailored ammo source to your rifle. Now, what do I mean by that? I can buy ammo, and as we discussed in the factory ammunition, is that I'm not getting a known quantity, right? I'm not going to get that known quantity. And it's typically because it's designed for the masses versus designed for my gun. So if I have an AR with a matched chamber, that is a very accurate rifle system. Think the Aero Precision you saw in the sniper weapons systems. That gun shoots half-inch groups. That is an excellent platform. But in order to get the most out of that platform, I am able to do testing with chronographs and targets and actually develop and design a loading that functions that firearm flawlessly at the absolute brink of its accuracy availability. So I can do that when I hand load. This right here is a box of 50 rounds of 69 grain Sierra Match King over IMR 8208 XBR. These are excellent match rounds that will absolutely shoot into a half of an inch, and I am doing confirmed 1,000-yard dope on this box of ammo. But it's tailored to that gun. I may put this in a different gun and it won't work the same way. It may not be as accurate. It just happens. Two, it is absolutely cheaper all freaking day long for you to stock premium ammo. What did I just tell you this was? This is 69 grain Sierra Match King. If I was to buy 50 rounds of Sierra Match King, 69 grain Sierra Match King ammo, I'm going to spend probably $80 on that. I built this for a fraction of that, which you're going to get actual real numbers here in a second. It is just cheaper to do it, right? All the people that commented on the video that I'll leave a link to over here, which is stocking ammunition, and people telling me that it's impossible to stock good defensive ammunition. It's not. If you're a hand loader, it is incredibly cost effective to stock stuff that is $1.50 a round all day long, and you're doing it for way less monies. Number three, you control the consistency of that ammunition. This is one of those things that we saw a lot during 2020, right? We saw ammo that was coming out that had typically been accurate that was now very inaccurate. We saw it blow up guns. We saw big problems out of factory ammo, and it's because the quality control wasn't there. When you're making your own ammo, everything from the way the case is prepped out to the way the chamfer is done to how your primer is seated to your powder you use, to how you crimp the bullet in there, and your net concentricity is 100% a product of your dedication to the craft, which means number 4, it's all match ammo when you make it. Now, granted, if you're running a big Dillon system and you're just pumping out rounds, no, that is probably not going to be match ammo. If you're running something like this turret press over here, I can make incredibly consistent, incredibly high level match ammunition. In fact, it is the only way I do match ammo. I do keep on stock somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 rounds of my standard Mark 262, the gold medal match 77, gold medal match 69, some of the burger loadings, some barn stuff. I keep that on tap because I like to have a reference point to compare what I am making to. Because if I can just make what I'm buying and it's costing me around the same, there's a time expense. So I would rather just buy it. Number 5, you are getting real data on your rounds. You're not getting the data that the ammo company gave you where they tested that freaking 5.56 round out of a 24-inch barrel. We're getting true, real data out of our firearm, the one we're gonna feed the ammo from, which means that we are developing the round, its efficacy, the efficiency of this round, the way it feeds, how it shoots, its reliability. We are developing it in conjunction with the firearm we are using it in. So we are making a match made in heaven. It's pretty great. But in the process of doing this, I have real data. I know that all of my rounds are loaded to this spec. I know they're all this length. I know the plats are all this way. I know the velocities are all here with a standard deviation in between here to here. I know these things because I built it. Number 6, creating things that you can't buy. I adore this, right? And I show this round all the time because it's one of my favorites. And that is the 55 grain Barnes MPG or multi-purpose green round loaded in Starline nickel brass with Federal 205 match primers. That round doesn't exist. I can't buy that, but I can make it. So that is where it becomes really cool. Number 7, and this is one of my favorite, is you will have a higher understanding of internal ballistics. It is very hard to learn internal ballistics because without a pressure chamber, it's very hard to know kind of where things are going, but we can actually learn to hand load and see things like pressure spikes. We're understanding how a faster rate of powder is applicable to making a bullet do this in a shorter barrel. Like, we're learning these things. So we're learning a piece of the puzzle that most people don't have a grasp on. Everybody should have a firm grasp on external ballistics and at least a rudimentary understanding, though I would debate most people don't after the Full Metal Jacket comments, of terminal ballistics and how bullets actually do what they do when they hit a medium. Telling me that it's going fast and I know it's going to work because it's going fast is not the same as me telling you, well, this is why it doesn't work because of this, this, and this. Having an understanding of these things is fantastic. Number 8, it is almost always going to be more accurate. Like 100, unless it's SS-109, the M855 projectile, that thing is junk. It's terrible. It's just the way it's designed. However, loading my own ammunition, I can buy stuff that is not really accurate in my gun, but everything I make for my rifle, I built it with the anticipation that it was going to be accurate. Number 9, it is typically going to cost me less money per round to have the same kind of stuff. I say typically because there is some situations where it is absolutely not cheaper. And number 10, I can clone rounds that are just unobtainable. When the whole world couldn't find Mark 262 from Black Hills, I built my own. When you can't find M118 LR for your 308 bolt gun or your 308 gas gun, you can build it. The recipe is readily available online. Your Mark 248, which is 190 grain Sierra Match King, rocking out of a 300 Win Mag. I can build this ammo, and I can't buy this ammo. You can even get the pulled projectiles, the 855A1 projectile, and then load those if you wanted to. Entirely up to you. But there are some cons. There are some big cons when we talk about hand loading ammunition. Number 1, And this is the biggest one that people don't think about. And it is in the same vein as people don't think about how much ammo it's going to take to actually vet a gun and not counting on that monies, or how much money it costs to really build out a handgun or a rifle. But that is, your time is money. Everything about hand loading ammunition is an absolute time suck. Yes, I will hand prime cases while I watch Blue with my children, but just prepping the brass, cleaning that brass, decapping the brass, resizing that brass, trim, chamfering, deburring the case mouth, cleaning out your primer pockets, repriming that brass, then reloading powder into there, and then pressing in a bullet and then crimping that all the way through the end of you shooting it. It is a absolute time suck. It is, even if you're pretty expedient with what you do. If I gave you 100 pieces of brass and asked you to turn it to 100 pieces of ammunition on a press like this, it's going to burn up about an hour of your day, even if you're relatively efficient at it. So how much is your time worth, right? Because your time is definitely part of what we're paying for in hand loads. Number two, I am in like you will see this, right? Number three in the pros was you control the consistency. Number two in the cons is, well, you control the consistency. If you have the attention span of a housefly or your average chihuahua, hand loading might not be the game for you, man. Because if you're not entirely focused on what you're doing, you can cause real problems. It's little things like having two canisters of powder on your table and having them both open, and then you not knowing which powder was in that hopper. Because I don't care who you are, you're not going to look at this and be able to tell me what powder it is. There are very few occasions where that's a thing. So the consistency of it is entirely dependent on your ability to maintain focus and your attention to detail and dedication to the craft. If you don't have those things, your ammunition is going to suck, and you'd have been better off just buying cheap freaking ammo because it's not going to hit what you're aiming at anyway. Number three, cons, is it requires a pretty substantial amount of equipment and equipment buy-in. So everything from case tumblers to presses to powder hoppers to crimp swagers to tricklers to components to dies. Like, there's a lot of stuff involved in creating ammunition, and it's pretty substantial. Number four, it's only as good as your process and your data. If you have bad load data and bad quality control when you build your stuff, your ammo is going to suck. Nobody's fault but your own, but you could have done it with factory ammo and saved yourself some time. But it's only going to be as good as your process and the data you use. That's it. Number five, some projectiles you can't buy. 135 grain Hornady critical duty projectile is a unicorn. You can't buy it. You may find it every once in a while, but you better damn well have the money sitting aside and ready to pounce when you find it. Sometimes you just can't buy it. Number six on your con list is you're going to need space. You are not going to do this on a TV tray in your living room. Like, you need a dedicated space with a floor you can sweep because you can't vacuum up powder. You need an area that you can focus and control on that's flat and allows you to stage projectiles and cases and powder as you're doing it, because the last thing you want to do is be loading and then knock over something and powder go all over the place, because now all those are trash and you got to reweigh all those because you don't know the actual powder amounts. So, thing. Number seven, hazmat fees. Holy crap. People that don't hand load do not know what I'm talking about. Well, here's the deal. Much like you can buy ammunition for your stuff to stockpile online, I can buy components. I can buy primers. I can buy powders. I can buy those online and have them shipped to my house. And here's the deal, though. Because we're shipping primers and powder, hazmat applies to it. And that's somewhere between like an $18 to $30 fee, no matter what. It doesn't matter if I bought one sleeve of primers for 100 primers. If I bought one sleeve, I'm still going to pay like the $20 hazmat fee to ship that. So we can mitigate that by watching for things from people like Powder Valley, Mid-South Shooters and stuff, where they do hazmat free weekends, where we can order stuff without the hazmat fee. But make sure when you're going to order, maybe get a couple of friends involved, order all your stuff at once, and then split the cost of the hazmat fee up to the poundage weight that they will allow with the hazmat. But you're going to pay hazmat. It's a whole different extra tax that isn't actually a tax. Number 8, it is not worth really loading Full Metal Jacket. It used to be 100%. It used to be. It really ain't anymore though, unless you can't find it. But it's really not monetarily worth it with the amount of work that goes into making it. Number 9, you still got to stock components. We're not just stocking ammo. Now we're stocking powders and primers. And your ammo is sealed usually in the ammo cans, and that will protect it from a lot of elements. However, all of these things are slightly more volatile when compared to humidity and stuff like that. And I can ruin this stuff if I don't store it correctly. But now instead of just storing ammo, I am now also storing powder and primers as well, and cases, and all this other stuff that I have to have. Number 10, making really good ammo requires time, gear, testing. Lots of testing. There is no such thing as you pulling out your handy dandy reloading manual. I think I've got one right below my leg here. So I'm not going to pull out my handy dandy reloading manual, and I'm not just going to pick like, okay, well, this is the velocity data it says, stick my powder in there and that shoot. No, your gun may not like that. You may have to fine tune this. Odds are you're going to fine tune this. So it's going to eat up a lot of time. It's going to require time. It's going to require testing, because I can't tell you how many hundreds and up to thousands of SMKs I've burned up developing loads that will shoot great out of guns, because not everything works in every gun. Here's a bonus point for you on this. Much the same way I told you there are a lot inconsistencies in factory ammo, there are also lot inconsistencies in powder. Those lot numbers are a real thing. And if I develop a load with this here powder and it is really, really, really good, it behooves me to buy as much of this powder as I can from this lot, because it's going to be the same. However, the lot a year from now may be way hotter, may be weaker. It may not group worth a crap. My velocity node may be in an entirely different place. My accuracy could be all over the board, and it becomes a junk loading for me because of a change done in the powder. Same thing can happen with your primers. Lot inconsistencies exist there. It also exists in bullets. Yeah, didn't think about that one, did you? Bonus point number 2, to be effective at hand loading ammunition, you're going to really need to buy stuff in bulk. Yes, we can all go out and buy single sleeves of rifle primers, and we're going to pay $11 to $10. God, I miss buying these for like $2. You're going to spend a lot of money to buy these individually, whereas I could buy this whole brick here. This is 1,000 primers. I can get this for like $80 sometimes. But I can guarantee you, if I can only find these, it's going to cost me about $11 or $12 a piece. Same thing with bullets. If I were to buy 50 Sierra Match Kings, it's going to cost me $19 for those 50 freaking bullets. But if I buy a 500 pack, it's going to cost me about $170. So buying your stuff in bulk allows you to load a lot. You're also getting consistent lot to lot stuff, and you have enough stuff on hand to continue to make, stuff. Same thing with powder. You will save money if you can buy your powder in an 8-pound keg versus 1-pound canisters. It's a real thing. Now, I'm going to address something I've heard a lot, and that is there is never a shortage if you hand load. Bullshit. If there's an ammo shortage, there is also a component shortage, because if a company that makes full loaded ammunition can't keep up with their own stuff, and they can't make more ammunition to sell to the public because we're consuming, they are also not going to release the excess primers and powders to the general public, because they make a whole lot more money if they can make you buy the ammo than they will if Federal sends you these. This is 1,000 rounds of Federal gold medal match, right? They make a lot more money if you buy 1,000 rounds of Federal gold medal match than they do if they sell this component individually. There is always that shortage. And here's another fun one too. I've done this before, which is developing a fantastic load for my ammunition stockpile or training or classes or actual work or whatever. And then I cannot find a component. And that component could be, I typically only use match primers for a rifle. Here's a good example. So in match rifles for a primer, I have Remington 7.5s. I have the BR4, the Bench Rest 4 primer. Then I have Federal Gold Medal match primers, and then I have Winchester match primers. Here's the problem. They all change the standard deviations a little bit and some of the velocities and accuracy in the round. So something as simple as having to swap primers can make my round maybe not as ineffective at 100 to 200, but at 1,000 it's off, right? These components matter, and switching anything will mean you have to pretty much start over with that load and figure out what's going to happen next. So guys, there you go. There are pros and cons for stockpiling that ammo from a hand loader's perspective. The next video of this one will nowhere near be as long as these, but I'm going to give you real, factual, awesome numbers. Modern numbers, because I was kind of surprised at the price of some of the things that I picked up here recently. So guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Until next time, I'll see you later.